Something in the unseen has already begun. You may not see it yet. You may not feel it in every area of your life, but heaven has moved. The shift has started, and nothing can stop what's coming. For too long you've prayed, you've waited, and you've wondered when the breakthrough would appear. But the truth is, the answer was never no. It was wait. I'm aligning everything for your good. The divine plan was never delayed. It was maturing. Like the seed beneath the soil, your promise was germinating, hidden from sight, yet alive with purpose. Now, that purpose has reached its appointed hour. The vibration of change has already been released in the unseen realm. The doors that once resisted you are trembling. The patterns that held you in limitation are dissolving. God has spoken, and when the word is spoken, creation must obey. Do not judge by appearances. What looks like silence is divine rearrangement. What feels like loss is the universe clearing the path. You are not being left behind. You are being positioned. The old timeline has ended and a new one has begun. The people, opportunities, and miracles aligned with your destiny are already in motion toward you. The shift begins not in the outer world, but within the realm of your consciousness. As you change your inner conversation, the world must reflect that change. The moment you accept that it has already happened, you step into alignment with divine law. You are no longer waiting for the miracle, you are embodying it. Faith is not begging God to move. Faith is knowing that He already has. It is the quiet confidence that says, though I do not see it yet, it is already mine. The unseen hand of the divine is moving every piece, turning every delay into design, every setback into setup. You don't need to strive, push, or force. You only need to believe. For what's coming cannot be stopped, not by fear, not by doubt, not by circumstance. It is written. The promise was sealed before you even prayed. So, lift your head. Stand in the knowing that the shift has started. Everything that once seemed impossible is aligning in your favor. Every wrong is being made right. Every closed door is giving way to divine timing. This is your moment of awakening, not to something new, but to what has always been yours. God's word concerning your life is in motion, and it will not return void. The shift is irreversible. The outcome is inevitable. The promise is unbreakable. So rest in that knowing, because what's coming isn't random, it's divine. And nothing can stop what's already been ordained. Every true shift begins not in the world around you, but in the invisible realm within you. Before anything manifests in your outer life, it first takes root in the consciousness of your belief. The external world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state of your inner world. What you hold as true in the silence of your imagination eventually appears before you in visible form. Every divine change, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins as a quiet conviction, an unseen certainty that what you desire is already real. You are not waiting for circumstances to align. Circumstances are waiting for you to align. The divine power that creates worlds does not move because of fear, doubt, or desperation. It moves through faith, through inner acceptance. The moment you dare to believe that what you seek is already accomplished, a shift occurs in the unseen. Something in the spiritual dimension begins to move. The vibration of your belief sends a signal into the divine field, and creation responds. The great secret is this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. If your inner dialogue is filled with limitation, the world will echo it back to you through limitation. But if your inner conversation declares abundance, healing, love, and purpose, those same qualities must find their way into your outer experience. It cannot be otherwise. The outer world is obedient to the inner vision. When you begin to understand this, you stop chasing results and start cultivating states of consciousness. You begin to see that prayer is not about convincing God to act. It's about shifting your awareness until you feel the reality of the answered prayer. The divine law operates with precision, as within, so without. When you change the inner image, the outer scene rearranges itself to match it. The moment you decide, in full conviction, that you already are what you wish to be, the unseen forces of the universe begin their perfect orchestration. But this inner shift requires stillness. It requires trust. You cannot see the seed growing beneath the soil, yet you trust that life is unfolding within it. In the same way, when you shift within, you may not see immediate proof. The world may appear unchanged, but something deep in the unseen has been set in motion. The divine timing is precise. When your faith matures, the harvest will appear effortlessly. To live in this understanding is to live in mastery. You stop reacting to appearances and begin creating from awareness. You no longer measure progress by what you see, but by what you know within. This is the essence of divine creation. Knowing that the unseen is more real than the visible, and that belief is the birthplace of every miracle. So guard your inner world, nurture it with faith, gratitude, and imagination. See yourself already possessing the promise. Speak as if it has already happened. Feel the joy of its fulfillment. When your inner world aligns with your divine identity, the outer world has no choice but to follow. For every divine shift begins not in heaven above, but in the consciousness within you. And once that shift occurs, nothing can stop it from becoming your reality. Imagination is the birthplace of every miracle. It is the seed of all creation, the sacred space where the unseen becomes seen, where thought takes form, and where divine intention begins its journey into the physical world. Everything you have ever experienced, every structure, invention, or breakthrough, began first as an image in someone's imagination. In the same way, everything that will unfold in your life begins in that hidden garden of the mind. When you dare to imagine something as true, you plant a seed in the soil of consciousness. That seed may be invisible to others, but it is alive, charged with divine energy. The moment you imagine with conviction, heaven begins to move. The spiritual law is exact. What is vividly imagined with faith and feeling must express itself in form. The imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the creative faculty of God operating through you. When you imagine, you are not daydreaming. You are creating on the invisible plane. The challenge for most is that they imagine the wrong things. They use this divine power to rehearse fear, doubt, and limitation. They imagine what could go wrong instead of what could go right, and the universe, being obedient, reflects it back. Yet, when you consciously turn your imagination toward faith, when you dare to picture your desired outcome as already done, you align with divine power. The invisible world rearranges itself. to mirror your inner vision. Imagination is the first act of faith. To imagine yourself healed, prosperous, free, or fulfilled while circumstances still look unchanged is to honor the truth that the unseen is more powerful than the visible. This is the secret of all transformation. The world around you bends to the image you consistently hold within you. When that image becomes more real to you than your present conditions, reality must eventually conform to it. It is through imagination that God works miracles. When you see yourself as already possessing what you desire, you are agreeing with divine law. The creative energy of the universe flows through that agreement, drawing to you every person, event, and opportunity required for manifestation. You don't have to force it, manipulate it, or beg for it. Your role is to see it in imagination and to feel its truth so completely that it becomes natural to you. When it feels real within, it must appear without. Understand this deeply. Imagination is not passive. It is an act of divine creation. Each time you close your eyes and envision the life you long for, you are rewriting the script of your destiny. You are declaring to the universe, "This is who I am." And God, who honors faith, responds by shaping reality to your belief. So dare to imagine boldly. See yourself walking in victory. See your prayers answered, your dreams fulfilled, your heart at peace. Live in that inner vision until it becomes your natural state. For what you dare to imagine as true, God will move heaven and earth to make real. Imagination is not escape, it is creation. It is the sacred bridge between what is and what can be, and through it all things are made possible. ChatGPT said, "When the divine plan is set in motion, nothing and no one can stand in its way." The moment God ordains a thing for your life, it is sealed in eternity. It may take time for your eyes to see it, but in the unseen realm, it is already accomplished. The path is written, the outcome secured, and the timing perfectly arranged. No human opposition, no delay, no detour can interfere with what heaven has decreed. Divine order cannot be broken. Every seeming obstacle is not a contradiction to the plan, but a part of its unfolding. What looks like a setback is often divine choreography, the universe rearranging circumstances to bring about the perfect fulfillment of what is destined for you. When you understand this, you stop resisting the process. You stop questioning every delay and start trusting the divine rhythm behind it. Life is not happening to you. It is happening for you, in alignment with the perfect will of God. The divine plan is like a river, steady, purposeful, and unstoppable. You may build dams of doubt or fear, but even those cannot block the current forever. The water finds its way around every obstacle, cutting new paths through rock and soil until it reaches its destination. So it is with your destiny. No matter who resists you, misunderstands you, or tries to hinder you, the divine current will always carry you where you are meant to be. There are times when you may feel forgotten, as though the promise has faded or the vision has died. But what is divine cannot die. It can only mature. The delay you perceive is divine timing, perfecting the details. The closed door is protection, not punishment. The silence is preparation, not rejection. When the time is right, the shift happens suddenly, effortlessly, and undeniably. Everything that once resisted you begins to cooperate with you because divine order has taken command. Everything that once resisted you begins to cooperate with you because divine order has taken command. You are not at the mercy of chaos. You are guided by an intelligence far greater than circumstance. This higher power sees beyond your momentary confusion and weaves every event, both the joyful and the painful, into the grand tapestry of your purpose. What others mean for harm, God turns into good. What you thought was loss becomes gain. Every delay conceals divine precision. So rest in this truth. What is appointed for you cannot be lost. The promises over your life are indestructible. Even if you take a wrong turn, divine order redirects your steps. Even if others try to block your way, they only serve to push you closer to destiny. The hand of God cannot be stopped by human hands. Therefore, be still in your spirit. Trust the timing. Trust the unseen wisdom guiding your path. What's meant for you is already yours in the realm of spirit, and the moment it's due, it will manifest effortlessly. Nothing can interfere, nothing can delay, and nothing can deny what heaven has decreed. The divine order is in motion, and it will not fail. ChatGPT said, faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the quiet, unwavering confidence that what you have asked for already exists, even when there is no visible sign of it. Faith is not dependent on evidence. It creates evidence. It does not wait for proof. It gives proof its reason to appear. When you believe before you see, you step out of the limitations of time and into alignment with divine order. You move from the world of waiting into the world of knowing. And it is in that sacred space that miracles begin to unfold. True faith is not blind, it is visionary. It sees beyond what the eyes can perceive and anchors itself in the eternal truth that the unseen is more real than the visible. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins with someone daring to believe before any sign appeared. To live by faith is to live from the end, to feel the reality of the promise fulfilled, even when circumstances still contradict it. This is how divine timing works. When your inner conviction matures, the outer world rushes to meet it. The mind often seeks evidence before it believes, but faith reverses the order. It says, I believe, therefore I will see. It trusts that the invisible hand of God is at work, even in the silence, even in the stillness. When you hold faith in the unseen, you are saying to creation, I know it is already done. That knowing becomes a magnetic force, drawing into form every condition, opportunity, and event necessary to reveal the fulfillment of your belief. Faith transcends logic because it comes from a higher knowing. It is not based on what the senses report, but on what the spirit knows. To the natural mind, faith seems irrational, to give thanks for something not yet visible, to celebrate before the victory. Yet this is the divine paradox. When you believe as though it were already done, the universe mirrors your conviction. The world outside must eventually conform to the truth you hold inside. Every test of life is a test of faith. When nothing seems to move, when the answer appears delayed, that is when faith is being refined. It is in those silent seasons that you are being invited to trust without evidence, to rest in the unseen wisdom of God's timing. Faith says, even if I don't see it yet, I know it's on the way. That quiet assurance releases resistance, allowing the miracle to flow unhindered. Faith is not just belief in God, it is belief in the God within you, the creative power that speaks worlds into being. When you align with that power, through unwavering belief, you participate in divine creation itself. You stop begging and start believing, you stop doubting and start declaring, and when that alignment is complete, manifestation becomes inevitable. So, believe before you see. Stand firm when evidence is absent. The unseen is already forming your miracle. Every second you remain in faith, divine timing unfolds perfectly, and what once seemed impossible becomes reality. Faith transcends evidence, because it is evidence, the inner knowing that what God promised, He has already performed. There comes a moment in every divine journey when the old must fall away to make room for the new. It can feel uncomfortable, confusing, even painful, as though everything familiar is crumbling. But what you are witnessing is not destruction, it is divine construction. The old order, the patterns, relationships, and circumstances that once served a purpose are now being dismantled to create space for what God has already prepared. Every closed door, every delay, every unexpected ending is part of this sacred transition. Nothing is being lost. It is only being replaced by something greater. When God begins to elevate you, He first clears the foundation. The shaking you feel is not punishment but preparation. The divine architect is removing what no longer aligns with your next level. Sometimes that means people drift away, opportunities dissolve, or plans unravel. To the natural mind, it looks like loss, but to the spiritual eye, it is order being restored. You are not being left behind, you are being lifted up. You cannot enter a new season carrying the weight of the old. The old mindsets, fears, and attachments cannot survive in the vibration of your new reality. That is why life sometimes closes doors you would have kept open, why circumstances shift without your consent. It is divine mercy disguised as disruption. God knows that what once sustained you cannot sustain you now. The old version of you must give way to the one who is ready to receive the promise. When the old begins to crumble, your role is not to resist, but to trust. Let go with gratitude. Honor what has been, but do not cling to it. The more you fight the change, the more painful it feels. But when you surrender, when you recognize that divine order is at work, peace returns. The chaos is only temporary. It is the soil being broken for new growth. What looks like endings are actually beginnings, wearing different clothes. Understand this truth deeply. God never subtracts without intending to multiply. When something is removed, it is because something greater is on the way. The disruption is the divine signal that your next chapter has already been written. The unseen has already shifted. The visible world is merely catching up. So when doors close, say thank you. When paths end, bless them. When the old falls apart, stand still and trust that something higher is unfolding. You are not falling apart. You are being rebuilt into alignment with destiny. The old must crumble because it cannot contain the new you. What once fit your spirit now feels too small. The shift you're experiencing is evidence that your frequency has risen. You are evolving into the person capable of carrying the promise. So do not fear the falling away. It is divine order in motion, the ending of what was never meant to last, and the birthing of what has always been prepared. The old is not your loss, it is your liberation. What God is building cannot be shaken, and soon you will see that everything that left was only making room for what was meant to come. You are not waiting for change to come. You are the vessel through which change flows. The divine power within you is not passive, it is creative, alive, and ever moving. It does not wait for conditions to improve before it acts. It transforms conditions through its presence. You carry within you the same creative essence that spoke light into darkness. The shift you are sensing in your life is not happening around you, it is happening through you. You are the instrument of divine transformation, the living bridge between the unseen and the seen. Too often, we look outside ourselves, waiting for signs, opportunities, or breakthroughs to appear. We imagine that change will begin once the world aligns in our favor. But the truth is, alignment begins within. The outer world only mirrors the state of your inner world. When your consciousness rises, the environment around you reorganizes itself to reflect that new vibration. The divine power does not wait for circumstances to permit your growth. It causes circumstances to bend to your spiritual authority. You are not a victim of life's movements. You are a participant in its creation. Every thought you hold, every word you speak, every belief you nurture sends out a frequency that shapes reality. The power of God does not dwell in temples made by hands. It lives in you. When you choose faith over fear, vision over doubt, love over resentment, that power flows freely through you. You are the vessel through which heaven touches earth. The divine shift is not an external event, it is an awakening of your divine identity. As you remember who you are, the illusions of limitation begin to dissolve. You start to realize that the authority to create, to heal, to prosper, and to rise has always been within you. You were never meant to wait for change. You were meant to be the change. God works through willing vessels, hearts that are open, minds that are surrendered, spirits that are awake. When you walk in that awareness, life begins to obey you, not because you are forcing it, but because you are aligned with the creative flow of the universe. You stop reacting to problems and begin responding from power. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start declaring, it is happening through me. This shift in awareness moves mountains, opens doors, and dissolves barriers that once seemed immovable. The same spirit that raised life from the dust is alive in you now. It is not waiting for conditions to change. It is creating the change itself through your faith, your intention, and your vision. The more you believe this truth, the more the evidence appears. So rise into your divine role. Speak life where there is lack. Declare peace where there is chaos. See abundance where others see limitation. You are not powerless. You are the vessel of the shift. Through you, the divine is creating new realities, new opportunities, and new beginnings. The power is already within you, waiting only for your agreement to flow. Everything that has been spoken leads to one undeniable truth. The shift has begun. It started not outside of you, but within you. The unseen hand of God is already moving, aligning every detail, orchestrating every event, and preparing every blessing that belongs to you. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and nothing can stop what has already been divinely set in motion. The old is fading because it can no longer contain who you are becoming. The doors that once closed are now opening because your vibration has changed. The delays you once feared were never denials, they were divine pauses, ensuring you would be ready to receive what's meant for you. You have been stretched, refined, and awakened for such a time as this. Now, step forward in faith. No longer wait for signs. No longer doubt the process. The power of creation is alive within you, working through you, transforming your reality from the inside out. The same divine presence that created the heavens is breathing through your words, your imagination, your belief. You are not waiting for the shift. Trust that every piece is falling into place. What you have prayed for, dreamed of, and envisioned is already on its way. The new is rising, and all of heaven is aligning in your favor. Stay rooted in faith, anchored in gratitude, and confident in the knowing that divine order cannot fail. Your time is not coming, your time is now. Thank you for listening, and remember, what God has started in your life, no force on earth can stop. The shift is here, and it's working for your good. My friend, listen closely. The tide is turning. What seemed still, what looked uncertain, what felt delayed, is quietly being rearranged behind the curtain of your life. God is about to shift everything in your favor. So for so long you may have felt like life was holding you back, like the doors refused to open, like the answers were always one step away. But the truth is, the delay was never denial. The waiting was preparation. The silence was the sacred pause before the sound of victory. You see, the real transformation does not begin when the outer changes. It begins when you shift within. Every event, every turn, every face that appears in your story is an echo of what you have already accepted in consciousness. And now, as you begin to dwell in the feeling of favor, everything around you must align to that vibration. This is not wishful thinking, it is divine law. As you assume that everything is working together for your good, the universe bends itself to that belief. What was once closed must open. What was once lost must return. What was once dark must reveal the hidden light. Right now, in the unseen, there is a reordering taking place. Situations that looked impossible are quietly being rewritten. People who overlooked you are about to remember your name. Paths that vanished are being rebuilt beneath your feet. You are entering a divine rearrangement where what was once against you begins to serve your destiny. But here's the key. You must stay faithful to the unseen. Do not measure progress by sight. Do not let appearances deceive you. The shift always begins invisibly. Just as a seed breaks in the dark before it ever touches the sunlight, your miracle is forming beneath the surface right now. So, hold the feeling of favor. Walk as though everything has already turned. Speak as if the breakthrough has already occurred. Because the moment you embody it, the outer must mirror it. What you call waiting is really God's perfect timing unfolding. What you call obstacle is divine alignment in disguise. And what you call loss is simply the clearing away of what can no longer contain your blessing. Your faith has summoned this shift. Your persistence has unlocked this season. God has seen your endurance, and now He is turning everything in your favor. Not partially, not halfway, but completely, beautifully, undeniably. So stand tall, rest in certainty, rejoice before you see it, because it's already done in the unseen. Your time has come. Your favor is here. And God is about to shift everything, absolutely everything in your favor. The unseen realm precedes the seen. Everything shifts first in consciousness. Before anything takes form in your external world, it must first exist as an invisible pattern within you. Every condition, every event, every circumstance that you experience in life is the result of an inner movement that occurred long before the evidence appeared. Nothing happens by accident. What you call reality is only the mirror reflecting what you have accepted as true within yourself. The world around you is not creating your state of being. Your state of being is creating the world around you. This is the hidden secret behind every transformation, the understanding that the cause is not out there, but in here. The unseen realm of thought, feeling, imagination, and belief is the birthplace of all that becomes visible. When you understand this, you stop struggling to fix the outer and begin to master the inner. You stop chasing change and start embodying it. You realize that life is not reacting to what you do, it is responding to what you are. Consciousness is the womb of creation. Everything that has ever existed, everything that will ever exist, begins as a vibration in awareness. Your imagination is not a fantasy, it is a creative force. When you hold a thought long enough, when you saturate it with emotion and conviction, it crystallizes into form. The outer world must then rearrange itself to reflect that inner conviction. This is why it is said that faith is the substance of things hoped for, because faith shapes substance. Faith is not hoping something might happen, it is knowing it already has in the unseen. Most people live in reverse. They look at their current circumstances, believe what they see, and then allow those appearances to dictate their inner state. If things go well, they feel confident. If things look bleak, they feel defeated. But the wise understand that appearances are nothing but the shadow of yesterday's consciousness. What you see today is the harvest of what you once believed. If you wish to change tomorrow, you must sow a new belief today. When you assume the feeling of your desired state, not in imagination alone, but in genuine inner conviction, the unseen begins to stir. Energy moves. People, opportunities, and events start to align themselves in ways your mind could never plan. The shift is invisible at first, but undeniable when it arrives. You begin to meet the right person at the right time. A closed door suddenly opens. A delay reveals itself as divine timing. The unseen realm organizes itself according to the picture you hold within. This is why inner work is the highest work. Meditation, prayer, visualization, they are not passive acts. They are the sacred tools that reshape the unseen mold of your life. Every time you lift your consciousness above fear, doubt, or limitation, you alter the pattern that life must express through you. You are not waiting for change, you are becoming it. When you understand that everything shifts first in consciousness, you stop asking, when will it happen, and start affirming it is already done. You no longer beg for blessings, you embody them. You no longer chase miracles, you live from the awareness that you are already surrounded by them. The unseen is not distant or delayed. It is right here, forming your next moment, waiting for your recognition. Once you accept this truth, you discover the real power of creation. To think, to feel, to believe, and to know that all things begin and end within you. Your inner assumption is the seed of your outer transformation. Everything you experience in life grows out of what you have accepted as true within yourself. Every result, every circumstance, every relationship is a reflection of your dominant assumption. the quiet conviction that lives beneath your words and actions. You may speak positively, you may hope for better things, but life responds not to your words or wishes, it responds to your assumption. What you assume about yourself, about others, and about life itself becomes the invisible foundation upon which your world is built. Assumption is not mere thinking, it is feeling. It is that deep inner knowing that settles quietly in your heart and declares, "This is who I am. This is what my life is." When that feeling takes root, it grows automatically, for the outer world is only a field waiting for the seed of your assumption to be planted. You do not need to force it, strive for it, or chase it. Just as a seed naturally grows when placed in fertile soil, your assumptions naturally unfold when they are nourished by belief and emotion. If you want to transform your life, you must begin by transforming what you assume to be true. You cannot hold within yourself the belief that you are unworthy and expect life to treat you as valuable. You cannot assume lack and expect abundance. You cannot assume rejection and expect acceptance. The outer world will always match the vibration of your inner conviction. It mirrors you with perfect precision, not to punish you, but to reveal you, to show you where your consciousness is planted. Most people attempt to change their lives by working only in the outer field. They change jobs, relationships, or locations, believing that the shift in circumstance will bring peace. Yet sooner or later, the same patterns reappear, because the inner seed was never changed. The old assumptions of fear, limitation, or doubt continue to bear the same fruit. True transformation begins only when you dare to assume something new about yourself. To assume is to claim your desired state as already real. It is to walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to think and act from the end rather than toward it. When you assume, "I am prosperous," even before evidence appears, you invite life to rearrange itself to match that vibration. When you assume, "I am loved," you radiate an energy that draws love toward you. When you assume, "I am guided," you begin to notice signs, opportunities, and synchronicities that confirm it. Life bends to the shape of your inner certainty. This is not imagination for its own sake. It is creation through consciousness. Your assumption does not wait for proof, it produces proof. It does not beg for change, it births it. The unseen power of your inner state directs every movement in the outer. When you truly grasp this, you stop trying to control people or conditions. You no longer fight circumstances or chase validation. Instead, you tend to your inner garden. You plant thoughts of abundance, worth, peace, and divine favor. You water them with gratitude and faith. And as surely as morning follows night, those inner assumptions bloom into visible experiences. Your world is not happening to you, it is growing from you. The seed of every transformation lies within your assumption. When you choose to assume the best, life has no choice but to mirror that belief. So, nurture the seed wisely. For whatever you assume yourself to be, you will inevitably become. What once worked against you is now being rearranged to serve you. Life has a mysterious intelligence that uses even your obstacles as instruments for your transformation. What you once saw as a setback was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. Every delay, every disappointment carried a hidden purpose, to reposition you for something greater. Nothing in your story was wasted, and nothing was ever random. The very forces that seemed to oppose you were, in truth, shaping you for the season you are now entering. Some said, when you look back, you can trace moments that felt like endings but were actually beginnings in disguise. The rejection that broke your heart taught you to find strength within yourself. The failure that humbled you refined your character. The detour that confused you led you to a path you never would have discovered otherwise. The pain was never punishment, it was preparation. Life was rearranging itself, aligning circumstances and orchestrating divine timing, even when you couldn't see it. You see, nothing in your life moves without purpose. The universe is not chaotic, it is precise. Every experience, pleasant or painful, is part of a larger tapestry being woven by unseen hands. When you begin to trust this truth, you stop resenting the past and start recognizing its wisdom. You realize that what once worked against you is now being turned in your favor. That difficult person, that season of lack, that moment of failure, all of it was molding you into someone capable of receiving the blessings you once prayed for. The rearrangement often begins invisibly. It happens in the unseen before it manifests in the seen. You may not feel the shift at first, but the alignment is taking place. Relationships that once drained you fall away. Opportunities that once slipped through your fingers begin to return. The same doors that were closed now open without effort. The difference is not luck, it is consciousness. You have changed within, and therefore everything connected to you must rearrange itself accordingly. The forces that opposed you were never against you. They were instruments of your evolution. When you embrace this perspective, resentment dissolves into gratitude. You no longer curse the storm. You thank it for revealing your strength. You no longer fear the unknown. You trust that it is leading you somewhere greater. What once looked like loss becomes a doorway to increase. What once looked like delay becomes divine timing. What once looked like chaos becomes perfect order. The key is to stop fighting what has already happened and begin to align with what is unfolding now. The past does not define you, it refines you. The struggle was never a signal of defeat, it was the turning point of destiny. You are being repositioned by grace. Every failure, every test, was the soil from which your new season would grow. So, lift your head, release the bitterness, stop rehearsing what went wrong, and start expecting the rearrangement that is already in motion. The same circumstances that once seemed to block you are now being used to build you. The same path that once felt heavy will soon carry you into ease. The same people who overlooked you will watch the hand of favor raise you. Nothing has been wasted. What once worked against you is now by divine design working for you, turning every shadow into light, every burden into blessing, every setback into setup. The shift has begun. The divine is not delaying, it is aligning everything for your highest good. What you call waiting is not inactivity, it is sacred timing, unfolding in perfect harmony with your destiny. Life is not withholding your blessings, it is preparing the path, the people, and the conditions so that when the moment arrives, nothing will be missing and nothing will be out of place. What feels like delay is often divine protection. What feels like silence is often preparation. The universe is not slow, it is precise. Many lose faith in the waiting. They interpret the pause as rejection, the silence as abandonment, yet the divine never denies, it only refines. The time between your desire and its manifestation is not empty. It is full of invisible activity. Circumstances are being rearranged. Hearts are being softened. Doors are being built, not merely opened. You may not see it yet, but beneath the surface, every thread is being woven together in perfect order. Imagine a symphony being composed. Each instrument must enter at the right moment, each note must find its place. If one part rushes ahead, the harmony collapses. So too in your life, there is an order, a rhythm, a divine timing that ensures every blessing arrives when you are ready to hold it. The waiting is not punishment, it is orchestration. It is life aligning the right opportunities, preparing you inwardly to sustain what you've prayed for outward. Sometimes, if the blessing arrived too soon, you wouldn't recognize it. You might mishandle it, doubt it, or lose it because your consciousness was not yet expanded to receive it. The divine delay is really divine mercy, a space for you to grow into the version of yourself who can fully embody what you've asked for. You are not being withheld from, you are being matured for. During this time, your task is not to push but to trust, to surrender the need to control the timing and instead align with the energy of faith. Faith does not ask, when will it happen? Faith declares it's already happening. When you rest in this knowing, impatience turns into peace. You stop trying to force outcomes and begin to live in harmony with divine flow. You realize that the universe is never late, it is always exact. Look back at your life. Every time you thought something was delayed, didn't it eventually make sense? Didn't the thing you once cried over lead to something better? Something more fitting for your soul's evolution? The same is true now. The delay you feel is the divine rearranging the universe in your favor. People are being moved, situations are being shifted. What seems still is not stagnant, it's being aligned. So instead of asking, why is it taking so long, begin to say, thank you for aligning everything perfectly. Gratitude opens the heart to divine timing. It releases resistance and allows the flow of grace to carry you forward. The divine does not operate on human schedules. It operates on divine order. Every delay is alignment. Every pause is purpose. Every detour is direction. Trust that what is yours is already moving toward you, and when the moment is right, not early, not late, it will arrive effortlessly, beautifully, undeniably. The divine is not delaying. It is aligning everything, absolutely everything, for your highest good. When you believe it's already done, life conspires to prove you right. The universe mirrors your certainty. The moment you shift from hoping to knowing, from wishing to assuming, you activate a force far greater than effort. You align with the creative law that governs all manifestation. Belief is not a passive state of mind. It is a living energy that instructs reality how to move. When you embody the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled, everything around you begins to rearrange itself to make that inner conviction visible. Most people live in a constant state of waiting, waiting for signs, waiting for proof, waiting for permission to believe. Yet the secret is that belief itself is the cause, and the proof is always the effect. You are not meant to wait until something happens before you believe it. You are meant to believe it first so that it can happen. The world does not respond to your longing, it responds to your assumption. Life listens not to what you say, but to what you know to be true in the quiet depths of your being. When you decide within yourself that something is already done, you send a clear signal to the universe. That inner certainty calls forth people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with your state of belief. You begin to see coincidences, synchronicities, and doors opening in perfect timing, not because life suddenly favors you, but because you are finally vibrating in harmony with what you desire. The outer must follow the inner. It has no choice. Belief is the creative command of consciousness. It does not beg, it does not chase, it declares. The moment you inwardly claim it is done, you cease to struggle. You no longer ask, how will it happen or when will it happen? Because you already know it's unfolding in divine order. That knowing creates peace, and peace is the soil where miracles grow. When you truly believe, your energy becomes magnetic. You attract instead of pursue. You rest instead of resist. You live from fulfillment rather than from lack. This is why faith is described as the evidence of things not seen. It is the invisible certainty that gives birth to visible form. Every great manifestation begins with an inner conviction that defies logic. The seed of belief germinates in silence, nourished by feeling and unwavering trust, until one day it breaks through the surface of experience. People will call it coincidence or luck, but you will know it was the inevitable result of your inner knowing. To believe it's already done is to step out of time and into creation. You stop living from the perspective of someday and start living from now. You speak as though it's done. You act as though it's done. You feel gratitude before you see results. Because on the level of consciousness, it is done. That feeling of completion is what draws completion into form. So stop waiting for permission to believe. Stop doubting the unseen. What you desire is already prepared for you in the invisible. The moment you believe it is yours, the universe conspires to prove you right. Everything begins to move in your favor. The right ideas, the right people, the right timing. Believe first, and let life echo your faith. For belief is not merely the key to manifestation, it is the very hand that turns the lock. Your faith is the force that moves the unseen hand of destiny. Faith is not mere hope, nor is it blind optimism. It is the quiet power that commands reality to respond. It is the invisible bridge between the world of thought and the world of form. When you possess faith, you do not beg life to change. You know it must. You do not question whether the path will open. You walk as if it already has. Faith is the law of creation wrapped in trust. The awareness that what you hold as true in the unseen must reveal itself in the seen. Everything that has ever come into being was first born through faith. Before any invention, healing, success, or transformation, someone believed in it before they could see it. That belief became a vibrational blueprint that life followed. The unseen hand of destiny responds not to fear, not to doubt, but to certainty. When you believe deeply and unwaveringly that something is already yours, unseen forces begin to organize themselves around your conviction. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People are drawn to you. It looks like coincidence, but it is faith in motion. Faith moves mountains, not because the mountain changes, but because you rise to a higher state of consciousness where the obstacle no longer exists. It lifts you out of limitation into alignment with divine power. You cannot possess faith and still see yourself as powerless. Faith transforms perception, and when perception changes, so does destiny. The unseen hand of life moves according to your inner belief about what is possible. Many try to live by sight, allowing appearances to dictate their state of mind. They believe when things look good and doubt when they don't. But faith asks you to believe before you see. It asks you to walk into the unknown with a steady heart, trusting that what is unseen will support you. The moment you believe, even against logic, the laws of the universe begin to bend in your favor. Life rearranges itself to match your inner state. The unseen hand moves not at random, but at the command of your conviction. Faith does not eliminate challenges, it transforms them into stepping stones. It does not remove storms, it teaches you to walk on water. When your faith becomes greater than your fear, your world begins to shift. The delays that once frustrated you start to make sense. The rejections that once hurt you reveal themselves as redirections. Every seeming setback becomes evidence that something greater is being arranged. To live by faith is to cooperate with the unseen intelligence that guides all things. It is to know that every event, every moment, is conspiring to fulfill a higher plan. Faith does not wait for evidence, it creates it. It does not ask for guarantees, it becomes the guarantee. So hold your faith like a flame that cannot be extinguished by circumstance. Protect it, nurture it, speak from it, act through it. For when faith lives in you, destiny cannot resist you. The unseen hand moves in response to your belief, shaping life to mirror your trust. The stronger your faith, the faster the unseen aligns. The power you seek is not outside of you, it is within, waiting for one simple command. Believe. Everything you've walked through, every challenge, every delay, every unseen moment, it has all been leading you here. The shift has already begun. Life is turning in your favor. The unseen is moving, rearranging, aligning every piece to fulfill what your heart has long known to be true. You are no longer striving, you are stepping into what has already been prepared for you. Remember, everything begins in consciousness. Your assumption is the seed, your belief is the soil, your faith is the sunlight that brings it to life. What once worked against you now works for you. The divine is not delaying, it is aligning. And as you believe that it's already done, life itself will rise to meet your conviction. So walk forward with peace, speak with assurance, live as if it's already yours, because it is. You are entering a season where your faith becomes sight. Your waiting becomes fulfillment, and your heart's desires unfold effortlessly. Understand. Thank you for listening. May this message remind you that you are divinely guided, deeply favored, and perfectly positioned. The shift is here, and it is all moving in your favor. There are battles you cannot see, struggles that go deeper than what any eye could witness. Yet in the invisible, a victory has already been declared in your name. You are not walking through this season alone. Every step you take, the divine is stepping with you. Every breath you breathe, the divine breath is breathing through you. The outcome isn't uncertain, the result isn't questionable. The end has already been written, and victory is the only conclusion. Where you are right now is not where you will remain. The pressure you feel is a signal a transformation is underway. What appears as resistance is actually the universe reshaping circumstances so your blessing can arrive fully complete. God is aligning people, resources, opportunities, and miracles to show up right on time. Don't judge the story by the chapter you're currently reading. The author of your life has already written the triumph. Your current obstacles are not proof of defeat, they are proof of destiny. A great shift happens when you choose to see beyond what your senses report. You are meant to rise right here, right now, even in the middle of the struggle. When doubt tries to speak, silence it with the voice of assurance. It is already done. Because once you accept the victory within, the world must reshuffle itself to match your inner acceptance. You may not see how things will work out, but you don't need to. The how is not your battle. That is where God fights for you. Your only part is to believe in the finished outcome. Hold the end result in your inner vision. Feel the joy of the answered prayer. Feel the relief of the breakthrough already yours. When you claim the end, all forces, visible and invisible, move to fulfill it. Don't give up, because the battle is hardest right before the breakthrough. Don't lose hope, because the darkness deepens right before the light breaks open. Behind the scenes, the victory has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. What you are waiting for is waiting for the right moment to appear in your reality. Stand firm, keep the vision alive, keep declaring the final result. Every battle you face is a testimony in the making. Every tear is watering a miracle. Every setback is positioning you for a greater comeback. Victory is not coming, it is here, stepping closer every day. Hold your head high. Walk in confidence. The God who started the blessing is finishing it. The God who promised is delivering. Your victory is unstoppable. Your breakthrough is inevitable. Your story is shifting into glory. Don't give up, because everything you've prayed for is already on its way. There is a realm beyond what your physical eyes can observe, a sacred territory where the unseen takes shape long before it becomes visible in your world. Every desire placed in your heart, every dream that refuses to leave your mind, every whisper of hope that surfaces even in your darkest moments, these are not random. They are evidence that something already exists for you in the invisible. The unseen realm is preparing your victory, crafting the path and aligning the perfect timing so that what is already true spiritually becomes undeniable physically. You are not meant to chase what you want. You are meant to align with what is already yours. When you understand that your victory exists right now, not in some distant future, you release the pressure, the fear, and the doubt that tries to convince you otherwise. You begin to walk with a calm certainty. You speak with authority. You think from the result, not toward it. Because once you know that the outcome is finished, all waiting becomes expectancy instead of anxiety. The unseen realm responds to the state you occupy. When you choose to feel victorious, even when everything looks against you, the external reality has no choice but to transform. What you accept within becomes what you experience without. A seed is planted below the surface long before the sprout appears. Yet no one questions whether the seed is working. In the same way, your blessing is working beneath the surface of your current challenges. You may not see movement, but the miracle is advancing. You may not hear progress, but the doors are unlocking. You may not feel change yet, but transformation is happening in silence. The delays you face are not pauses of abandonment. They are periods of divine preparation. The unseen is arranging the pieces, people, opportunities, resources, lessons, so that when the manifestation appears, it arrives complete. Sometimes the invisible victory is developing you, strengthening your faith, refining your inner identity so that you can hold what you asked for, without letting fear or doubt steal it from your hands. If you only look to the physical world for proof, you will become discouraged. But if you look inward, into the realm where imagination, faith, and belief operate, you will see that the victory is already yours. You can feel it. You can sense it. You can claim it. It is waiting for the moment you fully accept it as done. This is why you cannot give up. Surrender the need to see the entire path. Stand firm in the truth that what you desire is not being withheld from you, it is being completed for you. The unseen realm is not working against you, it is working for you, shaping every possibility to ensure that your blessing fits your life flawlessly. Walk forward knowing this. Your victory is not a future promise. It is a present reality preparing to reveal itself. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. Stay aligned. What you have asked for already exists, and soon you will see it with your own eyes. Every challenge you face carries a hidden purpose. It is not there to break you, but to build you. When life places a mountain before you, it is not a sign that you are weak. It is a confirmation that greatness is being activated within you. Challenges are spiritual invitations, signals that you are stepping into a new level of strength, faith, and personal evolution. The divine does not test you to see if you will fail. The divine tests you to show you that you are stronger than you ever believed. In the moments when you feel pressure rising, when circumstances seem too heavy to carry, something powerful is taking shape within you. Your endurance is expanding. Your courage is awakening. Your belief in yourself and in the unseen support around you is being anchored deeper. Without resistance, muscles cannot grow. Without adversity, power cannot be realized. Challenges introduce you to the version of yourself you were always meant to become. The one who stands taller, believes boldly, and knows their worth without hesitation. Divine intervention often arrives in the very places where you feel the most outmatched. When you reach the edge of your own strength, that is where a higher strength rises. When you have done all you can and still feel stuck, that is when the unseen forces begin to move. Problems create the space where miracles can appear. Without a need, there is no rescue. Without a conflict, there is no victory. The divine steps into the story not when everything makes sense, but when you continue to trust, even when nothing does. Many times, the challenge is not meant to change what is happening around you. It is meant to change what is happening within you. It teaches you perseverance, emotional mastery, inner clarity. It reveals your resilience and redefines what you believe is possible. You learn that you can survive storms, rise after falling, and keep your faith even in darkness. Every time you choose hope over fear, persistence over surrender, faith over doubt, you unlock a new level of your own power. What looks like a setback is actually a setup. It is preparing everything necessary for a breakthrough far greater than what you would have received without the struggle. Sometimes God allows you to face what seems impossible so you will witness what only the divine can do. The challenge strengthens your belief because you don't just talk about faith, you experience it. You don't just claim power, you embody it. When you look back later, you will see clearly the hardest parts of your journey were the most important. They pushed you into your destiny. They awakened your gifts. They connected you with purpose. They made you unstoppable. So do not fear your challenges. Do not run from them. Meet them, knowing that you are not facing them alone. Within every difficulty lies a miracle in progress and a higher version of you emerging. The challenge is temporary, but the power you gain from it is eternal. Your imagination is the birthplace of every victory you will ever experience. The true battle is not fought in the physical world, it is fought within your mind, in the silent places where no one can see. Every thought you dwell upon, every image you entertain, every outcome you believe in or fear, these are the weapons that either defeat you or deliver you. The world outside of you is merely a mirror, reflecting the state you consistently hold inside. To change what you see around you, you must first transform what you accept within. When you imagine the worst, you enroll your mind in stories of defeat, and life bends in that direction. When you imagine the best, you command life to follow the path of your belief. Imagination is not daydreaming, it is creation. It is a spiritual blueprint that your reality must eventually match. You become the full architect of your experiences when you recognize that the images you allow to occupy your inner space are shaping your tomorrow. The battle begins with awareness. Are you rehearsing fear or feeding faith? Are you picturing obstacles or outcomes? Are you letting doubt narrate your future or allowing confidence to lead? What you return to internally is what you build externally. Every victory is won before it manifests. Every breakthrough is formed in the invisible. The moment you decide that you will not accept defeat inside, the world loses its power to defeat you outside. Life will try to distract you with appearances. Circumstances may attempt to convince you that hope is foolish. But appearances are only temporary. They are delayed reflections of your past beliefs. The future you desire is shaped by what you choose to think and feel now. If you hold a victorious picture of yourself, strong, successful, healed, thriving, then the world must rise to confirm that picture. The universe is compelled to follow the command of your dominant vision. When you imagine from the end result, feeling it complete, embracing its certainty, you shift into the identity of someone who already possesses the blessing. That shift is what moves mountains. That shift is what opens doors. That shift is what calls opportunities, resources, and miracles into your life. You are not wishing, you are creating. You are aligning with what is already yours in the unseen. Train your imagination to work for you, not against you. Guard it like the sacred battleground it is. When doubt enters, replace it with a vision of triumph. When fear appears, transform it into a picture of faith fulfilled. Do not allow the outer world to rewrite the truth you hold within, because the moment you win inside, the moment you feel the certainty of victory in your heart, the world must obey. It has no option but to rearrange itself to reflect what you have already claimed. You are equipped for this battle. You are powerful beyond measure. With every inner victory, you are bringing your breakthrough closer into sight. And soon, what you once imagined will stand before you as undeniable reality. Faith is a quiet certainty that lives deeper than emotion, stronger than circumstance, and louder than doubt. It is not a fragile wish or a desperate hope that something might happen. Faith is the unwavering knowing that the outcome you seek is already complete, already yours, long before your senses confirm it. Hope waits for proof. Faith celebrates the result before there is a sign. Hope looks forward to the blessing. Faith knows the blessing is already established in the unseen realm, simply waiting for its appointed moment to appear. When you operate from true faith, you stop asking if it will happen and start living as though it already has. You think from the end result. You speak from the fulfilled outcome. You feel the gratitude of a prayer already answered. There is no more negotiation with fear or wrestling with possibilities. You stand firmly in the truth that what you desire has been claimed and cannot be taken from you. Faith is not blind. It sees with a clearer vision than physical sight. It sees beyond obstacles, beyond delays, beyond the current state of things. It sees into the realm where everything you want is real and waiting to unfold. This knowing changes how you carry yourself. You walk differently. You think differently. You expect differently. Even when your environment shows lack, you feel abundance. Even when the door seems closed, you know another is opening. Even when people doubt, you remain anchored, because the outcome does not depend on them, it depends on your belief. The moment you decide the result is finished, the world begins rearranging itself to reflect your decision. The right opportunities rise, the right connections appear, the right timing unfolds. Faith sets the universe in motion because it is the highest form of agreement between you and the divine. When you claim the end, all forces, both seen and unseen, move to deliver it into your reality. Challenges may still come, but they do not weaken your conviction. Delays may occur, but they do not shake your certainty, because faith says, if I have it within, I will have it without. Faith does not panic in silence or feel abandoned in waiting. Faith understands that the manifestation is aligning perfectly, not late, not lacking, not lost. It is simply maturing into its full expression. This is why faith is powerful. It refuses to bow to appearances. It refuses to surrender to fear. It refuses to let temporary conditions define permanent truth. Faith holds completion in the heart long before it arrives in the world. And when you hold the completion long enough, the world must reflect it. So do not just hope for the blessing. Own it. Do not just wish for the breakthrough. Embody it. Act, speak, and feel like the result is already delivered. Because when your inner knowing becomes unshakable, the outer reality has no choice but to obey. The end is finished. The promise is secure. The victory belongs to you now. Delays are one of the greatest misunderstandings in the journey of faith. When what you desire does not appear right away, the mind rushes to conclusions. Maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe God isn't listening. But in truth, a delay is not a rejection. It is an alignment. It is the space where the unseen world organizes every detail so that when your manifestation arrives, it arrives complete, stable, and perfectly suited for your life. There are blessings too big to appear before you are ready to carry them. There are opportunities too meaningful to arrive before your character, your faith, and your identity have expanded enough to sustain them. The delay is a season of preparation, not only of the blessing, but of you. During the waiting, the universe is shaping you into the version of yourself who can handle what you ask for without fear, without sabotage, and without shrinking. In the delay, you learn the strength of patience. You practice the art of trust. You discover the depth of your belief when the evidence is invisible. You are stretched beyond the comfort of instant gratification into the maturity of knowing. If it is mine, then it is already written. You stop chasing outcomes and start aligning with them. You shift from wanting to having in your inner world, and that shift magnetizes the outer world to match. Cutting is a form of protection. If the blessing arrives too soon, it can overwhelm. If it arrives too late, the heart can grow tired. But when it arrives right on time, it feels effortless, as though the entire universe conspired to bring everything together in one beautiful moment of fulfillment. What you are waiting for might be waiting for another piece to fall into place, a person you must meet, a door that must open, a skill you must complete. The delay is not empty time. It is sacred time. It is the incubation period where what you manifested in imagination begins to take form in the physical. Just as a seed must remain underground, unseen, before the sprout emerges, your desire is growing where you cannot yet witness it. The silence is not absence, it is development. The stillness does not mean nothing is happening, it means everything is being prepared perfectly. When impatience rises, remind yourself that the universe has not forgotten you. When doubt whispers, remember that your blessing is not being held back, it is being perfected. Nothing good is ever withheld. What is meant for you cannot miss you, and every moment of waiting is pulling you closer to the breakthrough that has always been destined. Hold your faith not by the calendar, but by the certainty that what is yours is inevitable. Trust the timing, honor the process, stay aligned with the end result. Because when the moment is right, what once felt delayed will arrive with such grace and clarity that you will say, "This was worth waiting for." Persistence is the evidence that you already believe the outcome belongs to you. When you persist in a vision, when you keep holding the end result in your mind despite what the outer world shows, you are proving your faith, your certainty, and your alignment with what you have claimed. Persistence is not struggling or forcing things to happen. It is staying loyal to your desire, no matter how loudly circumstances attempt to contradict it. It is the inner stance that says, "I will not quit because the end is already mine." Every breakthrough requires the language of persistence. The moment you choose to hold a new reality inside yourself, the old reality often rises up to challenge you. Not because you are wrong, but because you are shifting into something greater. The world outside reflects past beliefs, and persistence is the bridge that moves you from the old to the new. When challenges appear, when delays stretch longer than expected, when doubt tries to creep in, your persistence reminds you that the story is not over. You keep the vision alive, and because of that, the end must unfold. Persistence is proof of identity. When you persist, you are stepping into the version of yourself who already has what you desire. You think as them, you act as them, you feel as them. That identity shift is what triggers the change in your external world. Life is always responding to the person you believe you are. Persist in the identity of success, and success becomes inevitable. Persist in the identity of love, and love must appear. Persist in the identity of abundance, and abundance cannot be stopped. It is easy to hold faith when everything is going right, when signs are everywhere, when progress is visible. But true persistence shows its power in the silent seasons, when nothing seems to move, when prayers feel unanswered, when you walk blindly, guided only by your inner knowing. Those are the moments when the universe is watching to see if you truly believe. Those are the moments when miracles are being arranged, tested, and prepared. Persistence is not you waiting on the blessing. It is the blessing waiting on your unwavering commitment. Every time you stay loyal to the end result in your heart, you weaken the old reality's grip on you. Every time you refuse to settle for less than what you envisioned, you command the transformation to continue. Persistence is a declaration. I choose the promised outcome over temporary appearances. And because the world must follow the dominant internal state, the end you hold must unfold into form. You are not persisting towards something uncertain. You are persisting from the truth that it is already done. You keep going because you know the finish line has been crossed in the unseen. You hold the feeling of completion until the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. So persist with courage. Persist with peace. Persist with the confidence that your desire is not running from you, it is running toward you. Your persistence is your proof, and proof always manifests. Every part of your journey, every challenge, every delay, every unseen battle has been evolving you into the person who can receive the victory already written in your name. Nothing you are facing is working against you. The unseen realm is aligning miracles. Divine intervention is unfolding behind the scenes. Your imagination is commanding the world to shift. Your unwavering faith is sealing the outcome, and your persistence is proving that what you desire is already yours. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The blessing exists. The breakthrough is on its way. The promise is alive within you. Hold the end in your heart and refuse to let go. Because when you remain aligned with the finished result must appear. Walk forward with confidence. Stand strong in belief. Never let temporary appearances convince you of anything less than the truth. God is fighting your battles, and your triumph is guaranteed. Your story is not over. The best chapters are unfolding right now. Victory is coming soon. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. Thank you for listening, and may your faith lead you straight into the amazing future that already belongs to you. My friend, you may not see it right now, but everything is working together for your good. The pieces that look scattered, the doors that closed, the moments that broke you, they are all being woven by divine hands into something breathtaking. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. When God works, He often works in silence. He doesn't announce the process, He perfects it. What you call confusion is divine construction. What you call delay is spiritual alignment. God is rearranging the unseen realm to make everything fit your highest good. There are moments in life when the path feels uncertain, when what you prayed for seems far away. That's when the temptation comes to doubt, to question, to worry. But trust this truth. Faith begins where understanding ends. Faith doesn't need to see evidence, it creates it. When you believe that everything is already working out, life starts reflecting that belief. Circumstances bend to your inner conviction. The universe mirrors your inner trust. You begin to walk not as one hoping for favor, but as one carrying it. So stop asking when and start saying thank you. Every challenge, every closed door, every heartbreak, it's not rejection, it's redirection. The divine knows the path that will bring you the greatest fulfillment. What feels like delay is really preparation for divine timing. You may think God has forgotten your prayer, but He's actually protecting it. He's shaping you into the person who can hold the blessing that's coming. The seed doesn't question the soil, it simply trusts the process. It knows that what's buried today will bloom tomorrow. So today, release your worry. Let go of the how and the when. Your only job is to believe, to dwell in the feeling that it's already done. Close your eyes and feel the reality of your answered prayer. Feel the peace of knowing that God has gone before you. Walk as if your miracle is already manifesting, because it is. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on your trust. Every moment, every change, every unseen shift is working for your favor. So rest in this truth. You are guided, you are favored, and nothing is against you. The process may not look perfect, but it is divine. And one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every detour, every disappointment was God's perfect choreography bringing you into destiny. Trust the process. It's all working in your favor. It always has been. Everything that happens in your life, both the good and the challenging, is part of a greater orchestration, a divine rearrangement that is silently unfolding in your favor. It's easy to trust God when things make sense, when doors open smoothly, when opportunities align perfectly. But the real test of faith begins when the pieces seem scattered, when progress feels distant, and when your prayers appear unanswered. Yet even then, behind the confusion, God is at work, arranging every detail with precision and purpose. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something greater. The delays you face are not denials, they are divine strategies designed to position you exactly where you need to be. Every closed door, every unexpected turn, every disappointment has meaning. There are moments when it feels like nothing is happening, but that silence is not absence, it's preparation. God is shifting circumstances, moving people, and aligning opportunities that you cannot yet see. The unseen rearrangement is happening in the invisible realm long before it appears in the visible one. Your responsibility is not to figure out how it's happening, but to trust that it is. Faith means believing that while you cannot see the full picture, the artist never stops painting. Think of it like a master weaver at work. From the front, the tapestry looks beautiful and complete, but from the back, all you see are tangled threads, knots, and chaos. Your life may look like the back of that tapestry right now. You see confusion, frustration, and delays, but God sees the front side. He sees the design, the masterpiece, the finished work. Every wrong turn is being woven into something that will ultimately make sense. Nothing is wasted, not a single tear, not a single moment. There's divine intelligence behind every event, no matter how random it appears. That job you lost, it's making room for one that fits your purpose. That relationship that ended, it's clearing space for one that will honor your worth. That opportunity that fell through, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God's rearrangement always involves movement, and movement often feels uncomfortable. But remember, discomfort is the evidence that transformation is taking place. When you learn to rest in that truth, peace replaces panic. You stop fighting against what's leaving and start welcoming what's coming. You begin to see that every delay has meaning and every detour carries direction. The unseen rearrangement of your life isn't about punishment, it's about preparation. God is making sure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it fully, without fear, doubt, or limitation. So, even when nothing seems to make sense, stay anchored in faith. Something divine is happening behind the scenes. The doors that close are leading you toward the ones that matter. The pain you feel today is creating the strength you'll need tomorrow. What looks like chaos is actually choreography. God is not late, He's strategic. And when the rearrangement is complete, you'll see how every piece was always working in your favor. Life is not responding to what you want, it's responding to what you believe. Every experience, every encounter, every outcome is a reflection of the inner state you carry. The outer world is like a mirror. It faithfully reflects the images of your inner convictions, thoughts, and emotions. When you trust that God is working for you, your vibration changes, your energy shifts, and the circumstances around you begin to realign with that faith. What you hold within, your faith, your peace, your certainty, becomes the blueprint that shapes the world you see outside of you. This faith, you cannot walk in doubt internally and expect clarity externally. You cannot carry fear and attract peace. You cannot live in limitation and expect expansion. The law of life is simple but profound. As within, so without. What's going on inside you is constantly being echoed in the outer world. When your heart is filled with trust, gratitude, and assurance, your environment starts to mirror that frequency. Doors open, people respond differently, opportunities find you effortlessly, not because you're forcing them, but because your inner faith has become magnetic. When you believe that God is working behind the scenes, you stop striving and start aligning. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them through your certainty. You begin to see life not as a series of random events, but as a spiritual reflection of your consciousness. Every challenge that arises becomes an opportunity to practice faith. Every delay becomes a lesson in surrender. Every moment becomes a chance to choose trust over fear. Imagine holding a lens covered in dust and trying to look through it. Everything outside looks unclear, not because the world is unclear, but because your lens is. Your inner state is that lens. When it's clouded by worry, doubt, or resentment, the world appears harsh and uncertain. But when your inner lens is clear, with faith, peace, and gratitude, the same world begins to look radiant and full of possibility. The outer world doesn't change first, you do. And once you do, the world must follow suit. That's why inner work is spiritual work. Prayer, meditation, gratitude, and faith aren't just rituals. They are acts of realignment. They tune your inner frequency to the divine rhythm of favor and grace. The more you dwell in the feeling that God is for you, the more life bends to confirm it. Circumstances shift, people appear, solutions unfold, all reflecting the conviction that already lives inside you. If your outer world feels chaotic, don't try to fix the mirror, clean the reflection, adjust your inner state. Affirm peace even when you don't see it. Give thanks even when nothing looks right. Hold the inner picture of your desired outcome and let your heart rest in the assurance that it is already done. When your inner belief aligns with divine truth, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. So, choose faith over fear, gratitude over worry, and certainty over doubt. Trust that God is always working in your favor, and your world will begin to reflect that trust. The moment you change within, everything outside of you begins to shift. Faith is not the absence of reason, it is the presence of divine vision. It is the bridge that connects where you are to where you are destined to be. Faith stands in the gap between the unseen promise and its visible manifestation. It doesn't demand proof, it creates it. Faith is the language of the unseen, the vibration that communicates directly with the divine. When you walk by faith, you are not walking in darkness. You are walking in higher sight, seeing through the eyes of spirit rather than the limitations of the senses. The senses will always tell you what is, but faith tells you what is becoming. Your circumstances may whisper lack, but faith declares abundance. The world may show delay, but faith affirms divine timing. The doctor's report may read impossible, but faith answers back, with God, all things are possible. Faith doesn't ignore reality, it transcends it. It recognizes that the visible world is only a shadow of a deeper truth, one that is still forming beneath the surface of what you can see. When you believe, truly believe, you begin to align with the creative power that governs all things. Faith is your agreement with the unseen reality that already exists in the mind of God. Every answered prayer, every manifestation, every miracle first existed in that invisible realm before it ever appeared in the physical world. Faith is the bridge that allows that unseen blessing to cross over into your lived experience. Without faith, the bridge remains incomplete. With faith, the bridge becomes solid beneath your feet. Walking by faith means you no longer need to see the entire path. You trust the one who designed it. You take each step in confidence, knowing that even if you can't see the next stone, it will appear beneath your foot at the right moment. Faith is a decision to move forward even when the evidence is not yet visible, because you trust that God is arranging everything on your behalf. Faith is not passive, it's an active stance of certainty. It is holding the feeling of the answered prayer before it arrives. It is giving thanks for the victory before the battle is over. It is standing firm in peace while everything around you seems unstable. The world calls it delusion, heaven calls it alignment. Faith transforms your energy, your perception, and your outcomes. It magnetizes blessings because it operates in harmony with divine order. When you live by faith, you live in constant cooperation with the unseen hand that moves mountains, parts seas, and opens doors that logic says should remain closed. You no longer strive to make things happen. You allow them to unfold. Faith turns waiting into preparation and uncertainty into expectation. So even when life feels uncertain, keep walking. Even when you can't see the end, keep believing. Your faith is building the bridge under your steps. What begins in the invisible must one day manifest in the visible. Trust the unseen process, because faith has already gone ahead of you and made the way clear. Delays are one of the greatest tests of faith. They stretch you, refine you, and reveal what you truly believe about God's timing. It's easy to trust when everything flows smoothly, but when you're in the in-between, the place where nothing seems to be moving, you begin to question whether the promise will ever come to pass. Yet what feels like delay is not a denial, it is divine preparation. God often conceals his blessings in seasons of waiting, because the waiting is where the real transformation happens. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that beneath the surface something powerful is taking place, even if your eyes cannot see it. The same is true in your spiritual life. When God places a promise in your heart, it takes time to grow. The soil of your soul must be cultivated, your faith must be strengthened, and your character must be shaped to carry your praying for. A delay is never wasted time. It's preparation for divine fulfillment. In the waiting, God works on the unseen areas of your life. He refines your patience, teaches you surrender, and strengthens your trust. If you received everything you asked for instantly, your faith would never mature. The waiting builds depth. It develops spiritual muscle. The delay becomes the classroom where you learn how to depend on God completely. You stop chasing signs and start resting in His Word. You begin to realize that the process is as sacred as the promise itself. What you think is inactivity is actually divine activity. Behind the scenes, God is aligning circumstances, preparing people, and creating the right environment for your blessing to flourish. If it came too soon, it could destroy you. But in the right season, it will sustain you. There's a divine reason you haven't seen movement yet. Something within you or around you is still being aligned. Sometimes God holds back what you desire because He knows it would be smaller than what He plans to give you. When it feels like nothing is happening, shift your focus from frustration to faith. Every moment of delay is building spiritual capacity. It's creating roots deep enough to hold the fruit that's coming. Just because you can't see the evidence doesn't mean it's not unfolding. The seed doesn't stop growing just because it's hidden underground. God hides your blessing to protect it until it's ready to bloom. So instead of asking, when will it happen, begin saying, thank you, God, that it's happening. Praise Him not only for the promise, but also for the preparation. The waiting is not a punishment, it's positioning. Every delay has divine intention. When the appointed time arrives, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. The door will open, the promise will appear, and you'll realize that the delay was never a detour. It was the very thing that made the destination possible. God is not withholding, He's preparing. And when He's done, it will be worth every moment of the wait. The greatest secret of manifestation is not in asking repeatedly, it's in assuming the feeling of the answered prayer. The moment you believe that what you desire is already yours, the energy of your world begins to shift. You no longer live in lack, but in fulfillment. You no longer pray from desperation, but from gratitude. When you assume the feeling of the answer, you align yourself with the vibration of completion. and creation must obey that frequency. The outer world has no choice but to mirror the conviction you hold within. Belief always precedes evidence. Everything you now see began first as an unseen conviction in someone's mind. Faith works the same way. It's the inner acceptance of the unseen as already real. When you walk around believing that your prayer is answered, you begin to speak differently, think differently, and act differently. You shift from hoping it will happen to knowing it already has. That inner certainty becomes magnetic. The universe rearranges people, events, and opportunities to reflect the energy of that belief. Most people wait for evidence to believe. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But spiritual law operates in reverse. You see it because you believe it. Your inner state is the seed, and the outer experience is the harvest. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and waiting, that's exactly what your outer world will reproduce. But when you carry the feeling that it's already done, your outer life begins to conform to that assumption. It's not pretending. It's participating with divine creation. Think of yourself as the artist of your reality. The brush is your imagination, and your belief is the color that brings life to the canvas. When you hold the image of your answered prayer and let your emotions match it, peace, gratitude, joy, you begin to live from the end. You're no longer striving to make something happen. You're aligning with what already exists in the unseen. That alignment creates movement in the visible world. This principle isn't about ignoring what's real. It's about elevating your perception to a higher truth. You can acknowledge your current circumstances while still holding the feeling of your desired outcome. You can look at the present and still say, this too is working in my favor. When you live as if your miracle has already occurred, your actions naturally flow from that confidence. You stop worrying, you stop forcing outcomes, you start resting in assurance. Gratitude becomes your daily posture. Instead of asking, when will it happen? You begin saying, thank you, that it already has. That shift from asking to thanking is the mark of true faith. It tells the universe and God that you trust His timing, His method, and His wisdom. So close your eyes and imagine the feeling of the prayer already fulfilled. Feel the peace, the joy, the relief. Let it fill your entire being. That feeling is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. Hold it, live in it, and soon the outer world will catch up to what you've already accepted within. Believe first and watch the evidence flow effortlessly into your life. Surrendering to the divine timeline is one of the highest forms of faith. It is the art of releasing control and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Even when your mind cannot understand the pace or direction, it doesn't mean giving up, it means giving over. It means resting in the awareness that God's plan for your life is far greater, wiser, and more beautiful than anything you could orchestrate on your own. Trusting the divine timeline requires humility. The humility to accept that your understanding is limited, but divine wisdom is infinite. When you truly surrender, you no longer force outcomes. You stop trying to rush what needs time to mature. You stop begging for doors to open before you're ready to walk through them. You realize that divine timing is not delay, it's precision. God's plan never runs late, it runs deep. Every event, every encounter, every pause is perfectly synchronized to prepare both you and the path ahead. The waiting is not wasted. It's weaving something eternal. We often believe we must make everything happen through effort and striving, but real trust begins when you learn to rest while you wait. Surrender is not idleness, it's inner alignment. It's choosing peace over panic, faith over fear, gratitude over anxiety. It's saying, God, I don't know how or when, but I know you do. In that space of surrender, the burden lifts. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable and begin to cooperate with divine flow. Every season of your life has a sacred rhythm. There's a time to sow, a time to grow, and a time to harvest. Trying to force a harvest before its season only brings frustration. But when you trust the divine timeline, you move in harmony with life itself. You understand that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stay. The things that seem delayed are only being perfected. The people who left were part of the pruning process. The opportunities that didn't come through were protection disguised as disappointment. This is why surrender is the bridge between chaos and peace. It transforms waiting into worship. When you stop resisting the timing of your blessings, you open the door for divine acceleration. Ironically, the moment you stop trying to control the outcome is often the moment things begin to flow, because surrender aligns your energy with divine order, where miracles naturally unfold. So breathe deeply and let go of the timelines you created in your mind. Let go of the pressure to make things happen on your schedule. Rest in the knowing that the universe, under God's command, is not working against you, it's working for you. The invisible forces are already arranging what belongs to you. Your only role is to keep your faith alive, to stay grateful in the waiting, and to trust that when the time is right, everything will unfold effortlessly. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on schedule, according to the divine timeline that never fails. Every moment of your life, every delay, every challenge, every breakthrough is part of a divine design working perfectly in your favor. You may not see all the pieces right now, but God does. He's arranging, aligning, and preparing everything you need to step into your destiny. The unseen rearrangement, your inner faith, your willingness to wait, your surrender, these are not random spiritual concepts. They are the tools that bridge the invisible and the visible. When you learn to trust the process, to hold the feeling of the answered prayer, and to release your need to control timing, life begins to unfold with divine ease. What once felt like chaos becomes clarity. What once felt like delay becomes direction. Every event begins to reveal its purpose. So walk forward with peace in your heart. Know that the hand of God is upon your life, shaping every experience into favor. Believe that even now, unseen forces are moving in your direction. Keep your faith steady, your spirit calm, and your words filled with gratitude. You are not waiting for things to work out. They already are. Trust the process, because the process itself is proof that you are on your divine path. Thank you for watching, and remember, everything is working in your favor. Stay in faith, stay grateful, and keep trusting the divine timing of your life.